guys, what's going on? So today's the beginning of the movie talk stuff on the channel, where every episode I'm just gonna pick a movie that I like. It's usually gonna be something kind of obscure, and we're just gonna talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna tell you why I liked it, who was in it, things like that. Today we're starting off with the 1992 movie Stay Tuned. Stay Tuned starred a bunch of cool people. It had John Ritter, Pam Dawber, and Jeffrey Jones. Stay Tuned is kind of a family comedy in this sort of Honey, I Blew Up the Kids family sort of wacky, zany vibe. Basically what it is John Ritter plays a family man. He's kind of a failure. His wife is way more successful than him. He has kind of a schleppy job being a door-to-door plumbing supplies salesman. Door-to-door salesman. You don't hear about that much anymore. I don't think that's really a thing anymore these days, right? His wife, Pam Dawber, is way more successful than him. She's like a vice president of some kind of insurance company or something. Very successful. And John Ritter kind of feels bad that his wife is more successful than him. Feels like a loser. He's kind of having a midlife crisis. So he just comes home and watches TV. He does nothing but park himself in the recliner, watching TV, doing nothing, watching old movies, watching reruns of TV shows. He's just a couch potato, eating popcorn, doing nothing. Now the hook of the movie is that Jeffrey Jones basically works for the devil. And what he does is he comes into your house and he offers you this fancy new satellite dish that gets like 900 channels of everything you'd ever want to watch. So of course you're going to sign up for it. You get the fancy satellite dish. I believe it's a 44-inch widescreen TV. Because 44-inch in 1992 was mind-blowingly big. Nowadays, you know, we're wheeling the 70-inch out of Walmart whenever we're ready. Every time you get a tax refund or a stimulus check. So John Ritter gets the satellite dish. He's watching TV, and then it turns out what happens is the satellite just sucks you into the TV. You get sucked into there, and it's you get beamed into what they call the Hell Network, Hell TV. Jeffrey Jones is the president of Hell TV, and Eugene Levy, Jim's dad from American Pie. He's the executive of the network. And it's like you have to survive 24 hours on Hell TV, and if you survive for 24 hours, you get free. Otherwise, if you fail, your soul belongs to the devil and you go to hell. So you got a lot of good people in this. It's a funny concept. It was directed by a guy from the 90s called Peter Hyams, who he'd made some good movies before. He made like Outland with Sean Connery. He made Running Scared with Billy Crystal. But then in 1992, he made Stay Tuned with John Ritter and all these guys. And it was a hit. And it led to a string of great 90s movies. He made Time Cop. He made Sudden Death. He made The Relic. And then he closed out the 90s making End of Days, the movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger fights the devil. So he did a lot of things with the devil. That's kind of an interesting idea. He was also the director of photography on all his own movies, which I think is cool. Usually it's two separate jobs held by different people, but he did both. And I think that's a cool thing to do. Gives you sort of true authorship over your movies. He also wrote some movies back in the day. I think he wrote The Hunter, the final movie that Steve McQueen was ever in. But if you've never seen that one, you get to check that out too. So anyway, John Ritter, we all know what he's from. Pam Dawber, she was the girlfriend on Mork and Mindy. She's in a lot of other stuff, but that's the only thing I know her from. They're sucked into the Hell Network and they gotta survive. And the way the movie gets real cool is the Hell Network is like parody channels of lots of other famous TV shows. You know, like at one point there, John Ritter gets beamed into Wayne's World, only it's called Dwayne's Underworld on Saturday Night Dead. And it's hosted by Wayne and Garth, but they're like dead, dried up zombies. It's hilarious. There's another one, instead of driving Miss Daisy, it's driving over Miss Daisy, and it's just Jeffrey Jones running over an old woman and backing up, running back over, running over, backing up, running over. I think it's kind of funny. So as they're surviving, they keep beaming from channel to channel, moving through all these parodies. At one point they're on Northern Overexposure, about a New York doctor that goes to Alaska and freezes to death. I mean, come on. You can't beat that. Of course, a true sort of 90s family comedy cliches. The kids become aware of what's going on, and they sort of formulate a plan to save their parents from the show. They're doing real good. The kids get out, and then the devil turns out he gets to keep the mom. So John Ritter beams back in. There's a big showdown in a Wild Wild West parody, kind of like Good and the Bad and the Ugly type thing. The funniest one though, the funniest weird channel is, if in the middle of all the hopping around, John Ritter beams into Three's Company, and he sees the two girls come through the door and the theme song comes on, and he just starts screaming bloody murder. He's just screaming, and it's He's trapped in his own personal hell. I think that's hilarious. Lots of good people in this one. John Ritter, everybody knows what he's from. He was in a million things. He was in Three's Company. He was in 8 Simple Rules. He starred in so many TV shows. Hearts of Fire with Billy Bob Thornton. Made a lot of good movies. He was in Sling Blade, Bad Santa. The guy's way too long of a resume for me to read off. Pam Dawber, I never saw a lot of stuff with her in it. Like I said earlier, she was the girlfriend on Mork and Mindy. That's the only thing I really know her from, that and this movie. This movie's real good. She's been in a bunch of other stuff, just not things that I'm into or attracted to. Jeffrey Jones, in the 90s, he did some good stuff. He was the Ferris Bueller's principal. He was in Beetlejuice. He was in this movie. In the 90s, he was a funny guy and he did some good work. Eugene Levy even pops up in there as Jeffrey Jones' assistant. I mean, Jim's dad in a movie from the 80s. That dude was always been hilarious. So it's just lots of good comedy people doing their best. They're in the Hell Network trying to survive. The parodies are great. You can't beat it. It's just a good time. It's 90s nostalgia. It's like 1992 for 90 minutes, and you're just gonna laugh and enjoy it. I think right now it's currently streaming on Amazon Prime. For posterity, I don't know if that's gonna last. This video might last a lot longer than that movie's streaming on Amazon Prime. It's out there, it's streaming. You should watch it, check it out. It's a good time. Thank you so much.